When you told Rick you were leaving, you said that, his reaction is he thinks you're blowing off steam and you're going to be in Fayetteville the next afternoon for TV. And it doesn't really sink in, until you guys aren't really there. What'd you do after the show? It feels like the Horsemen were going out after the show. Did you guys go out and celebrate your last night in? And Rick just still thinks you're pulling his leg, or you're just upset, or what did the evening after the show look like for you and Tully?
I want to say I had about 30 double sea breezes.
Sounds about right.
I'm absolutely certain it was the indoor record. I'm sure Tully had something comparable. And we got up the next morning, fish-eyed, and got on a plane and went home.
So Meltzer would report in the Observer around this time that you guys were leaving. And he says that you guys have been threatening to leave for 5 or 6 weeks. And quote, at one point, they and another wrestler gave word that they were through unless Dusty Rhodes was replaced. However, Jim Crockett failed to replace Rhodes as booker, but the wrestlers didn't follow through with their threat to leave until now. I hadn't heard this before until I did my research. Is that true? Is that true? Did you guys give Crockett an ultimatum that if Dusty's out, or if Dusty's in, you're out?
I was never part of that conversation. I was part of a conversation with Rick, myself, and Tully, and it started out, the three of us were going to leave. That's how it started. Because Rick even knew them watering us down and doing the things that they were doing was going to affect the company.
Sure.
Now, all I can do is speculate, but when the three of us sat down in front of Jimmy Crockett, we were dead serious. Some things had to change. Well, Rick, I'm sure, had another separate sidebar conversation, and whether or not he said, hey, you got to have a booker change or whatever. I would have never been comfortable being part of that conversation, because you don't look at one of your bosses and say, hey, you either fire my other boss or I'm gone.
Right.
That just would never enter my mind you could do that or should do that, and I'm pretty sure you shouldn't. And again, a lot of the things, whether or not Dusty, made all the right decisions or some of the wrong decisions, who will never, time will tell. The fact is, Jimmy Crockett could have made me whole just by giving me the other half of my pay-per-view money, making sure I was figured in on the first round of guaranteed contracts when he cut his deal with Turner. Hey, if you're going to buy the company, I'd like for you to take care of Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard off the get-go, because these guys have been nothing but valuable, and they will continue to be nothing but valuable. That would have made me whole with Jimmy Crockett, Dusty, and the whole company. And I'd have stayed with them until hell or high water. But none of that happened. So we gave him a chance. Again, this was a precursor to mine and Jimmy's conversation after the match in Houston. This isn't right. We're not being done right. And Jimmy, in the long run, it's going to hurt your company, because you know what value we bring. That's the conversation that we had. It was still positive. It was still upbeat. I think Rick probably had I don't know if he thought we were bluffing as well, but I don't bluff. I keep my mouth shut. I toe the line. But when it's time and I say, hey, that's it, then that's it. Because barking doesn't get you anywhere. All it does is ruin your credibility. And I don't give a shit what company you're talking about or what scenario. Barking doesn't get you anywhere. You got one chance to say, hey, this is wrong. Fix it, or we're out of here. And so as it turned out, when it got time to go, I think Rick, right up till the very end, I think he thought we were going to come walking in, TV the next day and go, hey, let's talk about this.
It is pretty fun to think about, and I can't wait for us to talk about it another time, but it's not too terribly long, and Rick is going to have serious conversations. I mean, Bruce Pritchard says that they thought they had Rick at SummerSlam 88, which would have been a month prior to this. So clearly there was some interest, but what if he would have moved in time for SummerSlam 88? What if Arn and Tully would have jumped the following month in September? It's not going to be too long, and Barry Windham's going to be in the promotion, as is JJ Dillon. You could have had the Four Horsemen in the WWF under a different set of circumstances, and it might not have taken a whole lot to make it happen. So that's fantasy booking for another time, but something